Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio in the beautiful Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. It's time for the Tiffany Krumins Show. The Tiffany Krumins Show is presented by ChoicesToYou.com, the official restaurant delivery service of Business RadioX. Let ChoicesToYou.com bring the restaurant to you.
And good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve Julian. I am happy to be broadcasting from the Subaru of Gwinnett studios inside the beautiful Sonesta Hotel. And more important than all of that, even though that's important, I am excited and thrilled to be broadcasting here with Tiffany Krumins. Hi, Tiffany.
Hey, Steven. I feel much better this episode.
I was going to ask you, you've got one show under your belt, still butterflies, but not as many.
Yes.
What did you learn from your first show?
Oh, boy, that's a loaded question.
Yes, it is.
That I don't like the sound of my own voice. But I think it was a good show, and I feel much more excited this time because I've got some great people here in the studio today, and I'm excited for you to meet all of them.
Absolutely. So in the studio, we have Barbara Riley from the Amanda Riley Foundation. We also have Olivia and Debbie Glenn, and they're going to be sharing a little bit of their story with us. We also have Brian Dunsha from Backflow Testing Services, and Brian has a real unique story with you, Tiffany, and we'll let you tell that. And there might also be, there's some other people sitting in here, and there might be some other surprises. Who knows? You never know who's going to show up at the Tiffany Krumins Show. So, Tiffany, why don't you introduce us to Barbara Riley with the Amanda Riley Foundation?
Okay. Well, Barbara is a sweet, dear friend of mine who has started a foundation called the Amanda Riley Foundation, and I'm going to let Barbara tell you a little bit about why she started that foundation.
Well, thank you so much, Tiffany, and you are a dear friend of mine as well. Our foundation was established back in 2010 to honor the memory of my daughter, Amanda, who battled and lost her life to cancer at the tender age of 17. And Amanda battled cancer for 13 months, and during her battle, she always said that once she was well, she wanted to go back to the hospital and to make a difference for the kids there and to teach them and mentor them and just give them some advice that was given to her and to help kids that were going through the battle. So unfortunately, Amanda was not able to do that. So we are living out her dream of keeping her smile alive on the faces of others battling as she did.
Yes, and I've seen firsthand the effect that this foundation has on these children, and it's a beautiful thing. And I'm going to try not to cry yet because we've just started the show, but Barbara is so brave to continue on and really honor her daughter, and I love watching it. Barbara, excuse me, Barbara, you have a couple initiatives, 4 different initiatives that you focus on with your foundation, and I'd really like the listeners to be able to hear what those are, just a little bit about each of those so that they can kind of get behind you financially.
Okay, well, thank you. Yes, we do have 4 areas of service that we concentrate on, and we have direct support, inpatient support, survivor support, and as well as we fund some research. So our biggest area of support is through direct support. And Amanda had a cancer which was considered a solid tumor, and solid tumor cancers are very, very high risk. And when Amanda was diagnosed, she was told she only had a 30% chance of survival. And that's the case for many, many kids that have that type of cancer. So we concentrate on them, and we just try to make life better for them while they're going through their battle. We do, we not only support the child that's going through the battle, but we support the entire family. And our direct support, for example, for parents, we cover the cost associated with bills and things that they, because they're sitting by their kid's bedside rather than working. So we cover a lot of expenses that that they are incurred that they aren't able to cover, rent and utilities and car payments and that kind of thing. For the child that's battling, we have a really special program. It's called 1,000 Reasons to Smile. And once a child has been through the battle and been through the trenches for 6, 8, 9 months, or they've relapsed, or they're just really struggling with the disease, we go to them and say, "What would you do if you had $1,000 to spend on anything you wanted?" And so that's really, really a lot of fun. And we've granted many, many wishes, and we hope to be granting more. And we have a couple more in the next few weeks as well.
I was blessed to go along on one of those, and it was unbelievable. It was a lot of fun.
It is lots of fun. And this time of year is really, really busy and special for us because we sponsor children for Christmas, and we take care of their entire Christmas, including the parents with some gift cards and to cover their Christmas meals. But we also cover not only the child battling cancer, but his or her siblings, because we know firsthand when a child has cancer, the entire family has cancer. So this year we have, I believe, 107 kids that we're taking care of. So it's a lot of fun. It's a busy time of year, but it's going to, and we will host a breakfast with Santa in a couple of weeks, and they'll come in and enjoy the morning. They'll take their gifts home with them and to enjoy whenever their parents decide. Hopefully not in the car on the way home, but.
Barbara, one very quick question. The Amanda Riley Foundation, is it centered mostly here in the Metro Atlanta area? Does it stretch across the country? What's the reach of the foundation at this point in time?
It is the entire state of Georgia, because there are children that are treated at Scottish Rite, which is where our main focus is. We're actually branched out to Eggleston as well now, but we have some kids that come as far from the Tennessee border to Alabama. You know, they're all over. So it's the entire state of Georgia.
So we're gonna be transitioning here to hear from Olivia and Debbie, and part of their story is part of what the foundation did for them.
The 1,000 Reasons to Smile.
Yeah, the 1,000 Reasons to Smile. So before we get to that, let me give you the opportunity for business owners, for people with charitable hearts, people who want to get involved. How can they reach out and how can they help the Amanda Riley Foundation? Give the contact information for people who are listening.
Okay, our website is amandarileyfoundation.org, or they can email us at info@amandarileyfoundation.org. So we'll look forward to hearing from people.
And I'm sure there's tons of ways they can help, and I'm sure you're very creative in the different ways that you can get people involved. So we want to thank you for being here. And
absolutely.
And you brought some people with you. So Tiffany, I'm going to let you introduce our next guests.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have 12-year-old Olivia here today, and Olivia is actually a friend of Barbara's because she has helped Olivia and her family with one of the 1,000 Reasons to Smile surprises. So I was going to see if Olivia and her mom would tell us a little bit about what happened with that surprise. I mean, I was a part of it, so I kind of know a little bit of it, but a local radio station did give a limo for Olivia to go shopping and spend $1,000 however she wanted, and we showed up and surprised her. Did you have fun that day, Olivia?
Yes.
What was your favorite thing you got?
The limo.
The limo.
Wait a minute. You got to keep the limo?
Yeah, we gave her a limo. Yes.
No,
yes.
You took the limo. Now, where did you guys go? Where'd you go shopping?
We went to Town Center Mall.
Town Center Mall.
And it was the sweetest thing because her and her teenage sister were fighting over who had to buy something. So you would think they would, meaning you do it instead.
Right,
so they kept turning to each other and going, no, you go again. No, you go again. Because they had $1,000 to spend. That's no small task.
Did you want to spend it on just one thing, or did you want to spend it on as many things as possible?
As many things as possible.
You're like me. You're like me. I go to the dollar store and buy out a whole aisle kind of thing. So can you tell us at least one of the things that you bought with the 1,000 Reasons to Smile?
I got some clothes from Abercrombie.
Oh.
That I could wear in the hospital during my transplant.
Yes.
So.
Nice.
Yeah, and she had to okay each of those with her teenage sister. So I realized how old I was in that moment. So I wanted to give her advice, and she kept kind of going, excuse me, I need to get my sister. And so she'd go get her teenage sister and say, is this cute? And if she said yes, she went with it. But yeah, we were kind of on the outs that day.
That's funny. Now, and your so you and your teenage sister were deciding who's going to buy what, and she got to buy some things too, or she got to pick out some things?
Yes, I made her.
You Did she, do you remember one of the things that she picked out? Was it clothes too?
Yeah, she had some clothes and then a couple of things in makeup.
Nice. Nice.
Can't go wrong with makeup with girls.
And Debbie, you were, Debbie is Olivia's mom. You were part of this as well?
Yes, I was.
You got to ride the limo?
I did.
Did they let you drive the limo?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, according to Olivia, she wanted to take it home.
Yes,
and
she
it was
did.
only $1,000. So what a great deal.
It was a lot of fun.
Nice. Now,
Yeah.
did you say, hey, I just at least want some money to buy a pretzel?
Or one of those big cookies that you get at the mall.
They had a lot of fun.
Nice.
It was a good day.
Lots of smiles, right?
Lots of smiles.
I like it.
Yes.
I
A
like
lot
it.
less stress and a lot more smiles. That's
right.
what Amanda Riley Foundation is all about. So, so Amanda surprised you guys, obviously, in a very big way. Or not Amanda. Barbara's foundation really surprised you guys in a big way. And we want to surprise you guys with a little present for Christmas so that it can be extra special.
A couple more reasons to smile on the Tiffany Krumins Show.
I don't know what we did with the package, though. Have you seen? Oh, there it is.
Oh, the package is being delivered right now.
Look at that.
I don't know if everybody can hear that. Hello. Man, and I don't know if our mics are picking up, but Santa
doing here?
has come into the Business RadioX studio, and he has a package for Olivia. There is a package on the desk. For those of you watching on YouTube, and if you're just listening, there's a package. It says it's the most wonderful. It says it's the most wonderful time of the year. Wow, Santa wouldn't let you open it right away.
Olivia, can you read to me as loudly as possible what it says on the top, and then what it says when you open it?
It's
Please.
the most wonderful time of the year to visit a beach resort, and me and my family are going.
What did you say? You're doing what?
To visit a beach resort, and me and my family.
You're going to a beaches resort? Are you sure? What do those sunglasses have on them? She's got some really cool little sunglasses.
I think one's for your mom.
Yeah, give them to Mom, who's crying her eyes out.
Wait a minute. Okay, now hold on. So Santa, thank you so much for being here in the Business RadioX studios. But
you can wear your glasses, Olivia.
Tiffany sounds like she might know a little bit, maybe as much as Santa, about what's going on here. So, Tiffany, explain to everybody what this surprise is.
Okay. So, about a month ago, I was invited to speak at a beaches resort. And while I was at this event, they gave us a challenge. They said, all of you attendees, if you go home and you raise the most money for our foundation, which is benefiting people who have had damage from the recent hurricane, if you can raise the most money for our foundation, we're going to give you a 4-night, 5-day trip back to any of our beaches resorts. And so I got home and I sat up in bed one morning and God had you on my heart. And I said, I know exactly who I want to win this for. And so I've been fighting with a lot of amazing people in our community to win this for you guys. And you didn't even know, which is funny. Obviously by her mom's face and tears, she had no idea, but a lot of people have come together. But before we thank those people who donated on your behalf, by the way, we have someone special on the phone that wants to talk to you from Beaches.
I believe we have Liz Kaiser on the phone from Beaches Resort. Liz, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Liz.
Hi,
Thank you
guys.
for coming on.
Well, we're so happy that we could surprise you and have Christmas come a little bit early. We met Tiffany, as she said, while we were down at our social media event at Beaches. And I actually represent the Sandals Foundation, which is the nonprofit arm of our company. We've been around for 35 years doing great work, but in the last 9 years we became a formal 501c3. And we are located in all of the islands where Sandals and Beaches resorts are located. And we operate hundreds and hundreds of programs that benefit community, education, and the environment. And so this challenge that Tiffany has been talking about was related to Hurricane Matthew, and we had great devastation in the Bahamas as well as in neighboring Haiti, where we don't have a resort, but it's part of our Caribbean sisterhood. And so we were leaning on, a lot of our donors, our partners, and our Beaches moms who were down for the social media event. And they are definitely a force to be reckoned with. As you can see, Tiffany is, amazing in that sense and really, rallied for this challenge. And we are so thrilled that on behalf of the Sandals Foundation and Beaches Resorts that we are able to gift this trip today to Debbie and Olivia and your family to go to a beaches in either Jamaica or Turks and Caicos.
And I have to say really quick that you guys are covering, obviously, this amazing vacation. Barbara of the Amanda Riley Foundation decided she was going to cover the airfare. So you guys are all covered for an all-inclusive trip together.
This is amazing.
I want you. I said it the other day on a post you couldn't see because I hid you from it, but I want to see you walk down the beach holding hands instead of down that hospital hall.
Thank you.
I know you're sick of that, so
thank you.
Yes,
Thank you so
you're
much.
very welcome.
This is awesome.
Liz, I wish you were here to see.
I know. I have the chills, and I'm not there, and I want to cry.
No, what's so funny is Olivia didn't. She's young, so she probably doesn't know what Beaches Resort is. She's been fighting a big battle. Mm-hmm. Just now, as I handed her the book, they opened it, and her mom showed her the front page of the book where it's got the beautiful Negril Beach, and she went. Her eyes got as big as quarters.
Olivia, you're going to have so much fun, from the Xbox Play Lounge to Sesame Street characters, which everybody says that, they're never too old to enjoy Sesame, to all the restaurants. You can eat 24 hours a day, those amazing water parks,
whatever you want,
the beach. Everything is included.
And
so,
we went scuba diving and snorkeling.
Snorkeling, unlimited gourmet dining, unlimited premium brand beverages for mom and dad who may need a nice drink or a glass of wine. It's just an amazing, amazing vacation, and there is so much to do. And you guys are going to have the best time. And I hope that, as Tiffany said, that when you're out there on the beach, it can kind of help, some of the negativity that you've had to endure, at such a young age. And, we are so thrilled that we could be part of this wonderful experience. So,
well, Liz, you said that you wished you could have been here to see their reactions. I think I would rather wish that I would be at the beaches resorts to see their reactions as they swim and as they do all these wonderful things.
We will certainly, thank God for social media, right?
Yes,
we will certainly take a lot of pictures and
I will live vicariously through them. Yes,
follow their journey, and and if we can make this process a little bit easier, we're there for you. So we're happy to be part of it.
Liz, on behalf of Tiffany, I would also just like to say thank you, and thank you so much for also calling in and being a part of this show. So
absolutely,
thank you very
anything
much
for Tiffany. So
we hope to talk to you again sometime.
Great, thank you guys. Have a great day.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
I have to say one more thing. One thing that we did down there was called the Reading Road Trip for the foundation. And it allows you to go and visit local schools and read to the children there. So I know you guys will love to do that, and it's something you can sign up for through the foundation.
Awesome. Thank
So
you.
On behalf of Tiffany and on behalf of Barbara from the Amanda Riley Foundation, Olivia and Debbie, all I can say is have a great time. Please at least let us see all about it on social media and be open possibly to coming back and sharing the story. Would you guys be okay with that?
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys very much for being on the show. So happy to have you. And
do you think we could thank the people that made it happen while they're still here, just so they can hug their neck?
Absolutely.
All
Tiffany,
right.
why don't you tell us? Yeah, because you didn't do this. Wasn't just you, was it? There were a lot of people involved. So you go down the list.
So obviously, I put a call out on social media every chance I had to raise this money. We raised almost $5,000 through our community alone. They raised 8 in all, but we raised 5. So. That was wonderful. And at the very last minute, a very special man came in and made sure that it would definitely happen without a doubt, Mike Goslin. And he is here, Do My Own Pest Control. He did a rather large donation from his company, which was a beautiful thing. And he also has a foundation that we're going to feature on a different show. We're going to make sure to have him back and really feature who he is and what he's all about, because he's an amazing man, and he was a big part of making this happen for you.
Mike, that's a lot of pests. But thank you for your donation. And along with Mike, you wanted to also there's a couple other people I think you wanted to thank too.
Yes, obviously the Amanda Riley Foundation. They played a big part in making this happen for you, and now in flying you there. So to make sure your whole family can make it. Choicestoyou.com. He played a very big part in this too. A lot of my business colleagues, all of my Facebook and Instagram fans came together and donated at least $20, which was just a beautiful thing to watch. And last but not least, obviously, Beaches and Sandal Foundation.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're all going to take a breath. And for the last time, we're going to thank Debbie and Olivia for being here. And so thank you guys so much for being a part of this. And Tiffany, like I said, we're going to take a little break here. And one thing, you mentioned Choices to You, which was one of the people that you wanted to thank. And we actually also need to thank them for something else.
Yes.
Because before the show, Choices to You is the sponsor of this show, and one of the things they do as the sponsor is they feed us.
Yes, they feed us well.
They did, and today they brought in some food from Buffalo's Cafe, specifically the Buffalo's Cafe in Suwanee, but all of the Buffalo's Cafe all across Gwinnett County are involved with Choices to You. If you don't know about choicestoyou.com, I would encourage all of our listeners to go to their website. Choicestoyou.com allows people to order from great restaurants and have the food delivered right to them. Almost like people have choices, and those choices come to them. What a great concept. So go to choicestoyou.com. You can check out Buffalo's Cafe. There are tons of other restaurants, but specifically today, we wanted to thank Choices to You for bringing in Buffalo's Cafe. Great spread of chips and wings
Very
and
good.
wraps, and they said brownies, but holy cow, that's big old brownies. So
You guys are going to watch me grow as the show goes by. I'm just going to keep gaining weight and keep gaining weight.
nothing wrong with that. So thank you very much to Choices to You. Now, Tiffany, we have one other guest.
Yes.
That I mentioned at the beginning of the show, but I would be remiss if I didn't allow you to. But hold on. I've been interrupted for a great reason. Debbie, you wanted to say one other thing. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Olivia and I and our family just want to say thank you so much for everyone who made this possible. It's really exciting.
You're
and
very welcome.
Definitely something to look forward to.
Yes.
So thank you, Tiffany, Michael, Barbara. Love you guys, and thank you for everyone who helped, and Liz with Beaches Resorts. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. We hope you have a great time.
Thank you.
That was a good interruption.
Yes,
we can do that anytime. All right. So you let's now. There's one other guest that we have on today's show, and you are going to be have the distinct honor of introducing our final guest. So go for it, Tiffany.
Well, this person had a big effect on me in my entrepreneurial journey because I've learned from him since I was born. My dad is my guest today. His name is Brian Dunsha, and Brian is a small business owner here in the Atlanta area, and he's actually been in business now for over 30 years. Which is no small feat. You all know that small business is a very difficult thing, and I'm just so proud of him and all he's accomplished. And I want to really share some of the little nuggets of truth that I've taken from him over the years that may not be the tips that you would typically get. Hey, Daddy. I can call you Daddy on the air because it's my show.
That's right.
Right?
I won't, but you can.
Yeah. Okay, so my dad is a Marine. I was going to say was a Marine, but every time I say that, he says once was, always was, right?
Semper Fi.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of him for his service. And when he left the Marines, it was a very difficult time for him. I was about 5 years old, 3 to 5 years old, and he didn't really have a clear business path at that point. He hadn't left with a degree of any kind, so he had to really figure out how he was going to support his family. And he stepped up in a really big way, and he's kind of stumbled across a unique business opportunity at the time that was a brand new thing. Can you tell us, Daddy, a little bit about what that business opportunity was, and why did you think it was going to be successful?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on here today. It's a pleasure to come on your show. I'm proud of your success.
Thank you, Daddy.
You've done really good. I've been blessed. I've got a famous daughter that still has a heart of gold. I have a successful son, a brilliant, beautiful wife that's taken care of me for 40 years and puts up with me. I've got 2 gorgeous grandkids, Annabelle and Alex, and I've got a son-in-law that any man would be happy to have. I got a great son-in-law, so it worked out good for me all the way too. So
You've already given us the great foundation to a great business. I like that. That's good stuff.
I'm living the dream.
There
baby.
you go.
But we started off at any entrepreneur, the hardest part is getting started, to find your niche, find something that nobody else has thought of, or at least something new, an improvement on an existing product, or a way to provide a service that hadn't been provided before. And I was real blessed to have a man named John Jackson from Gwinnett County come to me one day when I was running a small city, or working in a small city in North Gwinnett here. And he said, we're starting a new program. It's called Backflow Prevention and Cross Connection Control. And I said, what's that? And he told me, and I said, well, I'm going to water school next week to learn how to run water systems. And he said, well, I'll meet with you the following week after you get back from school and explain it to you more. And basically what it was a federal program to start protecting our water here in Georgia, because God's not making any more water. We've got all the water we're ever going to have in here in the environment with us. And when if you look at water, you don't realize when we buy these little bottles and how convenient it is for us. In places of the world, they shoot you for one of these to just have a drink. And so we set about how to figure out how to protect Georgia's water and keep it going. And part of that is cross-connection control. We make sure that everybody on this street is drinking out of say a 48-inch main, a huge pipe that runs down the street. And I have to keep people in one building, or even people in the same building, from using water in a way that would hurt everybody else in the building. And so when I first heard it, when John explained it to me, he said, what do you think? And I said, I think I figured out what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, because I realized the 2 things, that you could protect the public, provide a service, and make a decent living doing it, and doing honest, entrepreneurial business and be self-employed doing it. So I never looked back after that day. I talked to him, and we were good.
So you mentioned at the very beginning of that answer that for all entrepreneurs, it's hard to get started. So the hard part was finding the right thing, and you found it when you had this conversation.
Yes, sir.
But I would imagine that wasn't the end of the hard part of getting started. What were some of the beginning growing you got a great idea. Now how do you and you had great reasons of why that idea was going to work. What were some of the growing pains in your first couple years of getting that off the ground?
Educating the public was probably the number one, because most people 30 years ago in Georgia, when you tell them backflow, they say, "What in the world is that?" They had no idea. They just opened the tap and water came out, and they knew it was good and safe, and so they didn't have any ideas how to do it or protect it. So getting the need and explaining to the public why we were doing what we were doing, and that it was an important part of doing business, but it was also protected society, made everybody safe. And that was the hardest part, was doing the education. And that's where John also came back to me about 6 months after I started the program and said, "Now we need somebody to train people." And I said, "Well, good luck with that." And he said, "Weren't you an instructor in the Marines?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "We'd like you to teach." And so about 6 weeks later, I was at Tech teaching backflow prevention and cross-connection control to plumbers, pipe fitters, fire sprinkler men, irrigation contractors, teaching other people how to do what I did.
And that created another income stream, I would imagine, as an entrepreneur.
Created a little better made $30 an hour back then. To run my mouth was a pretty good deal. So that's what I fell into that as well.
I run my mouth for free, but that's today. So.
Exactly. But it was an excellent gig, and it worked good. And what we did though was we had to build it. We had to start from scratch. And initially
there was no clear-cut path for you. You had to figure it all out with that.
No, we basically invented the industry because there were only 4 people in the Southeast doing what I did at the time, and which was pretty nice, because if you had 4 calls come in, one of them was mine, hopefully, and you had 25% of the business. Now, today, there's 300 people on the Gwinnett County list alone. And so that's the difference. That's how it's grown and how important it is. It's other people saw the need as well, and a lot of people, plumbers and engineers and things, saw a good way to make a living and provide a service. So.
Speaking about the business, my dad obviously started very small with the company, and he grew it into surrounding counties. And what really has blown my mind watching him as his daughter growing up is how he's held on to these same customers for 30 years. There are very few people that can say they have a company that's successful and that the person they started with 30 years ago is still a customer of theirs. And I've watched as some of them have actually gone away to a different person and been treated badly and have come back to my dad. So my dad is the type that walks in, and this is the type of person, every business person should be this way. He's the type that has to go in every single time and shake that person's hand and ask them how their family's doing. So they feel like they're his number one. What's the quote that you love about a Ferrari?
Oh, that came from Marshall Silver. Back in the 70s and 80s, there was a motivational speaker and a trainer named Marshall Silver that did tape series and trained people. And he used a metaphor of, if you're starting out and you're driving a Pinto, take care of your Pinto and treat it as you would a Ferrari. And someday you'll have a Ferrari. Yeah. And what the metaphor was it was for relationships. If you treat your girlfriend well and do everything, you'll have a 40-year relationship with your wife or your husband. If you have a customer that start out and you have a $1,000 customer that puts $1,000 a year in your pocket, you treat them like they're the only customer you have in the world, and they take care of you. Then when you have $1 million customer like CBRE or the Prologis Group, you end up with that kind of customer. You know how to take care of them, and you know how to provide that service, and you treat each of them the same. I get calls from a lady that has one little building that she retired on, and her husband maybe left her, and that's her entire income for the year. And I take her call just as fast and just as importantly as I do somebody with 100 buildings, because it's important to build those relationships and to make sure that you do treat everybody the same and with respect.
Faithful with little, and you'll find yourself faithful with a lot.
Exactly. That's right. And I've watched it happen right in front of my eyes, which is a beautiful thing. He supported our entire family for all these years with this little dream that started out. And I guess it's funny because I look at my journey and it's pretty much taken on the same thing. I was a quote unquote accidental entrepreneur too. But I'm treating my business exactly as my dad's done his.
You saw an opportunity.
Right.
Exact same thing. You saw an opportunity in your story. There is that similarity there.
Well, it didn't just happen. She's a third-generation entrepreneur. My mom and dad were some of the first professional real estate agents in Northern Ohio. And Dad put together investment groups where he'd buy a farm, cut it up, sell off the frontage for home lots, which weren't at the time were hard to come by, and sell the lots, and then they owned the rest of the property to do with what they wanted to. So he found his niche and created it and actually brought it along. I've done the same thing, and now Tiffany's done the same thing. Of course, she had a hand up because I started telling her when she was 8 or 9 years old, she'd come to me with these fantastic ideas. And sometimes I'd say, very good, honey, that's great. Other times I'd kind of look at her mom and shake my head and go, oh my gosh, what have we created? But she always has these ideas. And I told her any thought or original idea that somebody else hasn't already thought of is worth $1 million. And it's true. You will look at there was a guy named Gary Dahl in the 70s. And he was a hippie living in a cabin in Northern California. And he went to the bar one night, and all the people in there drinking said, well, I got to go walk my dog, I got to go feed the cat, I got to do this and that. And they were all fussing about having to maintain their pets. And they said, don't you ever go home take it? He said, I've got a pet rock. And he said, that's all I need. He said, it's where I put it when I leave. It's there when I get back. I don't have to walk it. I don't have to feed it. I don't even have to pet it. And that crazy fool turned around and made boxes with holes in it for the pet rock to breathe. He gathered stones from streams near his home and painted or glued faces on them and sold them for $3.95 a piece. He was a millionaire in 18 months.
Everybody go Google that because I know that story.
Good old pet rock.
The pet rock off a conversation in a bar. So it's just like saying, knowing a niche and seeing a need and filling that need. It can even be an improvement on an existing product. I've got a friend that was in real estate or in construction with me for years. And I met him one day to do a test for him, and he said, it's nice to know you. And he shook my hand. I said, where are you going? He was like 35 years old. He said, I'm going to North Georgia. And I said, for what? He said, I'm retired. I said, you're crazy as you look. You can't retire at 35. He said, I've made an improvement on an existing fishing lure. And the repeller or one of the companies had written him a check. He now lives on 200 acres in North Georgia and is retired at 35 years old simply from improving somebody else's patent and somebody else's idea. So
I'm glad he didn't go on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Would eaten him alive, huh? Okay, so I think the most important lesson I learned to you after all of these is the importance of honesty and integrity. I've watched as other people have come in and tried to take advantage of your customers over the years, like we discussed earlier, and I've loved watching you respond the correct way and continue to treat them just like you always have. So is there anything you want to say to listeners about just maintaining that honesty and integrity, how important it is?
Well, that's all you've got. We started over, as you know, we started over at 30 years old. We lost everything we had in the world. We had a nice home in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee or in the rolling hills of Tennessee. And we lost our home. We moved to Georgia I had a wife, 2 kids, and a U-Haul, small U-Haul with everything we owned in the world. And we didn't even have a car for about, 6 months or a year.
And it's some of my favorite memories is holding hands with you, going to the store and picking stuff up.
We'd walk up to the store every Friday and get groceries and carry them home. And she enjoyed it. That was kind of a pain for me. But we started from scratch at that point and had to reinvent something. And all I had was my name. And that was it, basically, and my word. If I'd go and tell somebody I was going to do something, if I was going to smack them in the nose or I was going to paint their house, I was going to do it. And that's the main thing when you start off with your customers. You've got to build that rapport. Donald calls it branding. Tiffany calls it branding, or all the young people call it branding. But back then, it was your reputation, and that was what you had. People trusted you because when you're in sales or you're an entrepreneur, you have to sell yourself first. When you go in and talk to somebody, if they have no use for you, they have no use for your product. But if they like you, they enjoy doing business with you, they have fun doing business with you, then the other part's simple. Then it's just a product. So,
well, Brian, before we let you go, you are still in the Backflow business.
Yes.
So for anybody listening that and everybody listening needs some kind of Backflow help, right?
Yes.
So tell everybody how they can get in touch with Backflow Testing Services Incorporated?
Well, we're on the web, and of course, everybody's got the web page and the website. It's easy as calling me. You can call me on my cell phone. I've got an 18-hour day. I work 6 18s a week. So and I'm looking forward to when Tiffany hits it big. I may cut back to like 80 hours a week. But right now, they can just call. They can Google us and put us up on the web. And of course, we're in the phone book and under Backflow Testing Services Incorporated in Monroe, Georgia. And we serve 15 cities and counties, just about the entire metro Atlanta, all the big cities and counties, and provide service.
And I would bet you've been in the business long enough that if someone listening across the country, or just in the Southeast especially, if you don't service their area, you probably know somebody that can help them.
Yes, sir.
And
yes,
somebody with good honesty and integrity like you have, and so they can use you as a resource even if they're outside of the service area. I
really enjoyed that. I have the main people to do that. I have several hundred lady property managers, and they will call me now on weekends or other times, and even things that have nothing to do with what I do. They call me and say, who's good at taking roots out of a sewer? Who can do my pool? My pool's leaking. And I have, like I said, networking over the years. I've got a huge group
Before
of
it was
people
called
that we
networking, right?
That's what it's called, networking, yeah.
Before it was called networking. You were naturally doing that.
Before LinkedIn, we were networked. So.
Thank you so much, Daddy, for coming in and sharing your story. I know it's always inspired me, so I'm hoping it's inspiring those that are listening.
And she says, thank you, Daddy. I'll say thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Of Backflow Testing Services in Monroe, Georgia. Tiffany, before we wrap up, one other quick shout out to one of our sponsors this month. If any of our listeners are looking for a unique gift for the movie lover on your list, give them or yourself the gift that keeps giving. Horror Pack, the horror movie subscription box. They can add brand new horror movies to your collection. They're yours to keep. Blu-ray and DVD plans are starting at $19.99. It ships worldwide monthly. For more information, they can visit horrorpack.com. Okay, Tiffany. Now you've got your second show under your belt. Any parting shots or words of encouragement, advice, anything like that? The floor is yours.
I just hope we can give away a trip every single time. Like anybody else that wants to get on board with that, let's do it.
Well, listen, it's funny. I had written down that as I was coming in to get ready to do the second show, I just wanted to welcome our listeners, the entrepreneurs, the great business builders, the givers, the sharers, and the life-changing dreamers. That's who we want to talk to.
That's right.
And that's what you've accomplished. That's what, with a lot of help from a lot of great people. So
Yes.
fantastic show. Maybe we can't give a trip away every time, but we can get great advice like we got from
That's
Brian.
right.
We can share great ideas. We can network together and
Hopefully inspire.
absolutely. That's the way to go. So for Tiffany Krumins, I'm Stephen Julian. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a great week.